Omid and Kojo Show.
Time to look at some flips, figure out what's going wrong with them, give some advice on how to make them better. It's going to be a good time. Just going to wait for Omid to join me. And before he does, I just want to mention I'm working on the ultimate beat twist guide. I'm going to try and make the best beat twist tutorial ever made. And it's going to be really hard. And it's going to take like 3 weeks probably. But it will be done eventually. And it will be great. You're going to enjoy it. Hi everyone. Thanks for the waves. Appreciate it. Oh, there's Omid. Alright, here he comes. Here comes the middler. Ugh. Hello.
Hello, mate.
Hello, Omid. How you doing?
I'm lovely. How you doing?
I'm alright. Oh, yes, Willie D. Appreciating the ultimate guides.
Yes, Willie.
Solid. You ready to look
Yep.
at some flips?
Hang on. Something
What?
that's way more important has just gone on.
Go
Someone
on.
told us to do a double cork right now.
Go on, send
Imagine.
it. Just in bed.
Yeah. How are you? How are you today? You having a good day?
I actually had a full night's sleep last night. Because for those of you that don't know, I've been doing a month of getting up at 5 a.m. every day. It's been the longest I've got up that early every single day for, actually, like doing 7 days a week. And it's been pretty good. It's weird not seeing the night time ever. It's just day when I wake up and it's day when I go to bed. But I find it makes you more productive. You have more energy. You get more done. I managed to get 2 ultimate guides done in that time. And they take a lot of time. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. How about you? How are you doing, Omid?
I'm all right. So because I now have the time, I've also been getting up. Well, I have a lot more of an opportunity because of personal circumstances to get up earlier. So I've been doing the same thing, but I didn't go as extreme as Kojo because I struggle waking up. Even if I've got a flight, it doesn't matter what's going on. I am going to struggle with waking up.
Well, we missed a flight together before.
That's the only time. That's the only
That
time
is
I've
the
ever
only
missed a
time.
flight. Oh
But
no,
yeah.
you missed the flight another time because of your email.
That wasn't from sleeping, though. That wasn't from sleeping. That was travel agents.
A
But
couple
yeah.
of issues.
All right, so Willie D said, I cannot wake up that early. And I thought the same, honestly. I thought that I couldn't consecutively do 5 a.m.s. And then whenever I've tried to do it before, the early mornings, then I'd end up going to sleep too late. And I'd think, oh, well, I can't get up at 5 a.m. again because I'm trying to be an athlete. Like, I need to rest my body. I need to have enough sleep. But if you just force yourself to get up anyway after like 3-4 hours of sleep, you find that you're so tired the next day, you go to bed earlier. And if you don't, you're going to be really tired the next day. So if you just kind of keep getting up early, then everything else sorts itself out and you start falling asleep earlier.
Well, it's funny you should mention that
Yeah.
because that exact thing happened to me today. So I've been waking up between like 5 and 6 every day. And I've been doing pretty well. There's only been like one day before today. But today I woke up at like 9 a.m. because yesterday I had like 2 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep because it was so hot. It's so humid right now. I just can't sleep. And then last night, exact same thing happened. And I went to sleep at like 1 a.m. And I was like, I can't go another 3 or 4 hours sleep. It's going to kill me. So when my alarm went off, I don't even know what happened. I was so ashamed of myself as well. When I woke up at 9, I was like, oh my God. I felt like I was in trouble. But tomorrow, yeah, I know I'll be fine to just wake up at 6. And that's crazy for me.
That is crazy for you. Knowing you, that is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So for the clips we're going to go through and give advice on, it's going to be a little tricky because my camera roll is full of B-twists that people have sent me as well. So I need to figure out where the tricks that aren't B-twists start. You know?
We'll just start at the
Let's
first
see.
one and then
What's
just
that?
keep going back.
B-twist. Is this a B-twist? That's not a B-twist. And I'm right in the way. All right. Sorry,
Well, while you're
Go on.
looking through, Nuri said, does it tactical when you work 9 to 5? I think what he means is, does it work? Now, it's actually the reason that I'm doing it, because I've found that I'd wake up at like, I don't know, like 8 a.m. or something, and I'd start work at 9, and then by the time I'd finished for the day, I was exhausted. But that's when I need to get all of my YouTube and clothing shit done. So I was so tired that I was just like, I need to be waking up earlier and just restructuring my day. So even though I'm waking up earlier, I'm getting loads of work done in the morning. Then I start my 9 to 5 job, and then I've still got a few hours where I can do some work or hang out with people or do any of those things. And it's just a much better structure for me personally.
Yeah, you just get a lot done. I find I'm more productive in the mornings. Like normally from 5 till 7, I normally just stretch and do mobility stuff at that time. So I've already got that out the way nice and early, and then I can do some more later. And then I just start working from like 7. And 7 till 11 a.m., those are normally the hours where I get the most done. So yeah, I find it's pretty good. And also, if you get up at 5 a.m., it's quite easy to catch yourself still sorting out work or still being functional, a functional human around like 6 or 7. Like it's 6:30 now. I got up at 5, but I'm doing this. Whereas if I got up at 10, then it would be midnight right now, and I would not be doing this. So you just get more done, I found. But yeah, let's talk about these tricks.
Yeah,
all right. About this guy's full.
Can't bloody. We're here to talk about flips. We keep just.
Yeah, I know you're going to go on about getting up early again. All right. So, with this guy's full, now I'm not that great at standing tricks, but because of seeing all of the videos that I have on Kojo's Trick Lab, I can just draw off of what Aspen says about standing full. And he's really good. He can do standing dubs really easily. So what he'd say is in your takeoff, as you swing, after you swing your arms across, make sure your left elbow comes to around shoulder height, and then reach over and wrap in. If you drop that elbow and shoulder right down, you're just flipping around a much lower point, and it's going to be harder for you to get around. Yeah.
I mean, the only other thing that I might add to that is before you've even started to move to initiate the full, you're looking over at the floor behind you just to make sure it's there. You and I both know the floor is going to be there, so you don't need to look over your shoulder that soon. Like, you need to ideally be looking up and over your shoulder at the same time, because right now you're turning and looking over your shoulder before you even initiated the flip. If you do manage to lift your head up and then as you're doing that, look over your shoulder, it means you gain more height, because that's essentially the trajectory that you're going to be following the full on.
Yeah. So explained in actions, it would be bit of that instead of yeah. There you go. That's how you do it. Next one. Oh, we got a loser, or Webster, whatever you want to call it.
Go on, I'll let you do this one because I'm all the way off, and you just did your ultimate guide, so you should be the king of Webster.
Yeah, you should be watching my ultimate guide, is what he should be doing. All right, so it's not bad, to be honest. Like, I'd say he could do with bringing the right leg further in front, and then swing. When you swing it backwards, try to push your hips backwards as well. As if your hips don't go backwards, you can try this just standing against the wall. Put your hands on the wall. Try and kick your leg behind you as high as you can. And then do the same thing, but push your hips backwards and try and lift your leg as high as you can. And you'll notice it goes a lot higher above your head. So make sure you're pushing your hips backwards as you swing the leg. And I don't know what's going on with the arms. Kind of the Russian technique. If you're doing the Russian technique, try to make sure your arms swing down sooner so that as you're taking off, they're coming right up behind you and giving you more height. If you only start swinging them down as you're taking off, which is what he's doing, they're not really going to lift you up. So,
yeah. The final thing I would add to that, because he's kind of doing he's doing a quarter or half rotation. You're turning, instead of allowing that the takeoff leg to just come and meet the swing leg, what's happening is you're just kind of turning your hips at that point as you're taking off, so that you end up going rotating around that point, so your legs never actually come together. Do you know what I mean? So you got to not turn your hips as you're taking off, so that you can follow and use that to gain height, because that's actually going to end up stopping you from getting as much height if you're turning your hips over. But I'm not the king of Webster, so
exactly, Mondo. Oh, you've got your own brand of Webster. What are you talking about?
I created a brand.
You appropriated a Webster. All right.
So funny.
We got an aerial GMS here. Not bad, not bad at all.
Yeah. Let me
So
see again.
I think he did say this was like one of his first ones. So what he needs to do there, the main thing you want to address is the travel in GMS. Now, in all tricks, they're going to be a little bit harder if you travel, as your legs have a longer distance to go. The further you go in a GMS, the more of a flip your legs have to do. So ideally, you want to land on pretty much the same spot. And how you're going to do that is by pushing your hips backwards in the direction you came from, right out of the aerial. Now, what are you laughing about?
I'm sorry. I was really trying to compose myself. When you were talking about the travel in GMS, all I could think of was Henry doing it on the roof in New York when he was traveling, like maybe like 10 meters in his jump into the cartwheel, and then the GMS doing the same thing and slamming his knees on the roof of this gym.
And then the police came. But yeah, so Henry the Tricker from New York, who does the longest cartwheel GMS in the game. He could cover a whole spring floor with that cart GMS. It's mad. He dives into it. He runs up and he does like a long jump into his cartwheel. It's mental.
Like the craziest bound. It's like the first jump when people do triple jump. It's like that, but even higher. And then he goes into this crazy cartwheel. Sometimes as well, he can't take how much height he's got from the jump. So his arms collapse in on him and he kind of hits his elbows at the top of his head on the ground.
Maddest tech in the game.
It's insane. All right. What's going on?
I'm not sure what he's trying here. I'm not sure if he's trying to do Sailor Moon or trying to do like Scissor. I think Sailor Moon, judging by where he's looking at the end. Well, go on, you start, Omid. What would you say?
Well, are we going just to the Sailor Moon? Because his hips, if he wants to turn this into Sailor Sis, that's like perfect for it.
Yeah.
But we'll start with Sailor Moon first. First thing is your right hand's on the ground for way too long. You only want to be tapping the ground. You don't want to like actually put any weight on that hand. Whereas right now, I feel like it's just on the ground for a little bit too long, which is going to minimize the amount of height that you can get. Now, you don't want to go too high in a Sailor Moon, but you need a little bit more height than what you're currently getting. And then, one more time. Also, you're turning your hips. Wait, what is going on there? He keeps lagging out just as he's doing it for me.
Well,
I don't know. What do you think?
I can see it. I can
Yeah, what
say
do you
what
think?
I think. All right. So, as you can see, he's actually getting the back leg up. Not super high, but he's getting it up fairly high. But he's not really inverting. So why is that happening? And that's because of what happens with his arms. He swings them in the right sort of way, but then as he's taking off, notice how his left arm stops driving backwards and it just pulls in. So in a raise, you want your upper body to be flipping you over in the same way your back leg is flipping you over. If you just have one of them doing it, then this happens. So make sure when you go into it, I practice raise a bunch first and get a bit better at that before worrying too much about pushing off the hand, because it just overcomplicates things a bit, in my opinion. But try and lock out your shoulders so they're really stiff and they both move in time. You want both arms moving at the same time. Swing them in that full circle motion as fast as you can. And this is the key thing. Don't stop swinging your arms. Your left arm should be swinging backwards as your left leg swings backwards, really hard, so it pulls right over your head. That's going to flip you over and make the whole thing a lot faster.
Yeah, you kind of covered everything there.
Those are the main things. We covered the main things anyway. The important things. The nitty gritty. Go on. What's he got? All right, you're the scoot tripman, Omid, so you can tackle this one.
Well, what we trying to also, I came across that clip the other day. I can't believe I did that. Honestly, you're getting some power out of that scoot, and it's quite shocking because it seems like you're not actually carrying the momentum that well when you're doing the scoot. I feel like there's not that much in terms of the twisting that you need much assistance with. With the scoot, what I would say is once that left leg is about to hit the ground, you want to be swinging your right leg down from slightly further behind you, and you want to be swinging it with even more power than that. And that will mean that you can gain more power and block going into the double full, which will give you a little bit more height so you can swing out of it or have the confidence to then start pop flashing out of it and swinging it and all that kind of thing. Yeah. But that's probably the main thing. That's a pretty strong scoot dub for grass, but the scoot looks super chill.
I'd say a couple of things that would make it quite a bit easier. If as you take off, you lift the left elbow to above shoulder height, then that's just going to mean you'll be flipping around a higher point, which means you're going to invert a little less, so you're going to be more horizontal in the air, and you're going to be a bit higher. So that will make it feel a lot easier. So when it comes to swinging and stuff like that, that'll make it a lot easier. And the second thing is just pushing your hips forwards a bit. In any move, if you're traveling, when you don't need to be, like unless you're using something as a setup, then you're normally better off landing on the same spot. So if you can push your hips forwards a bit more, you won't travel as much. Your legs won't have to flip as far. It'll be easier.
Yeah. It's looking good, though. Also, all you, man, that are talking about me being Persian, I'm half Iranian. Jesus. How many, man?
They just spotted your nose.
So, fuck off. It's not, it's the surname. I might start parading around as Alex from now on. You know, Benji Byrne. I was just about to say I like that, but then it would just sound like I was going to say I like penis. But my point is, I like your gusto.
Yeah,
I like
Benji Burns, more like.
Anyway.
All right, next flips. On to the next one. Enough of this.
And someone said, you speak Farsi. I can swear at you, say hello, and say good night.
No, you don't speak Farsi.
Hey, I can say things.
All right, let's have a look at his Webster. We got another Webby. Everyone needs to be watching my Ultimate Webster Guide because it'll tell you what to do in detail.
No, I'm not gay.
So, main things here. Let's start from the start. After he does his jump, could do with having the right leg a bit further in front. He could do with not arching over like this. You want to try and be in a pretty upright position when you first touch the ground. That means you can reach forwards with your chest as you're swinging your leg backwards. Because in a Webster, you kind of want your head and chest to go forwards as your leg comes backwards. So you're in a nice stretched out position. Then as you leave the ground, you tuck in and it flips you around. Going from a straight position to tuck to make you flip.
A real simple thing to add to that will help with trying to keep your chest up and just keeping a straight body as you're taking off. Instead of looking at the ground just in front of you, just try and keep that head up and spot something just in front of you for a split second.
Yeah. And I think until, like, when you do your little jump onto your foot, then spot in front of you. And then as soon as you land on the foot, try and spot the floor in front of you. And then keep that same spot on the floor as you're swinging the leg backwards. Only stop looking at that spot when you're leaving the ground and you're tucking in.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only Webster's a hard one to give tips on because it's like there's a lot of different ways to do it. That's why my Ultimate Guide was quite hard to make because there's a load of different techniques that work. So depending on what technique, like what kind of Webster you want, then the tips are a bit different. But the big general one is pushing your hips backwards as you swing your leg. That applies to all types of Websters. So yeah. All right, what we got here?
Oh, yo, okay.
Ooh,
First of all, this actually looks really cool. I don't like it. Just looks super nice. I'm a big fan of that. And also, I love the tiny, tiny little square of a floor that you've got, especially coming off the back of all the conversations we've been having on here. Yeah, I'm just a big fan. But do you want to go or shall I?
Yeah, you go.
Let me go. So, first thing, obviously, it is good. And I think the biggest things that I can really add to this, unless you're going to change the aesthetic to make it look less over the top and all that kind of thing, is pointing your toes going to be a big one. And I like the fact that you're kicking out as opposed to just like pulling the scissor out so it comes out with a straight leg. It is a different aesthetic to the way that I would normally do it, but I do like those. So yeah, point the toes and maybe if you can start trying to get that kick out like a moment sooner, because once you get it so that you're getting the kick out before you even finish the first half of the rotation, it makes it look so much bigger. And it just looks mental because, like, you're kind of upside down, but your right leg's going this way and your left leg's coming the other way. And it just ends up making it look really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
One more thing just about functionality and making it as easy as possible. As you're landing, so after you scissor, try and really focus on pushing your hips forwards. It's just going to help you land in a much more upright position, more stacked over your leg. Because he's doing it well there, but if it's on grass and you land a little bit short, then it can be a bit sketch and you can fall down. Like, ideally, you want to push your hips forward so you land with your weight like stacked over your foot, like over the balls of your feet. You don't want to be leaning backwards with your foot in front of you. But apart from that, just what Omid said, and also after extending the scissor, trying to hold it out for a little bit longer, that's the sort of thing you just keep working on over time. But
yeah, I think flexibility will help with that as well. Because you can tell that, like, that's the point where his body's just going, nope, we need to come back down. Also, what's going on? We got beef in here.
We got beef. Got beef.
FJ Fitness said, fuck off, Benji.
It's probably his mate, and he's had enough of his shit. Probably something like that.
Oh, no, wait. I think he was talking about the last person that we watched the clip of.
Benji was the one that said penis.
Oh, that's what it was.
He's the penis one.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a raise. We got the classic raise mistake where the hips are already turned 90 degrees when he steps onto the right leg. The problem with this is if your hips are turned to the side, your arms can't swing forwards. Your leg can't kick straight backwards. It means your leg's going to come out to the side. Your arms are swinging to the side. Everything's going to the side, which is fine for getting you round, but you're not going to flip as much and you're not going to have as much flipping momentum for when it comes to swing. It just means you're not going to get as much power out of it. So everything else isn't bad. Like, I think if he did fix the hip thing, if he makes sure he steps onto the right leg with the hips facing the direction he's going, then it should be way better, like straight away, really, because that would fix a lot of other problems.
But the thing is, like, I think the fact that he's getting quite a lot of pop off of the current takeoff, that's good. If you can try and translate that, over to this new technique of having the foot facing the direction of travel as you're going to be taken off, then use that pop and use the block that you're currently getting, and I think you'll find it being crazy powerful.
Yeah. One way to train this,
good,
if you just kind of stand with your legs shoulder width apart, facing the way you want to go, and try and swing your arms as hard as you can, just do raise from standing without the step. It's a bit harder, but it looks like he's got enough power to do that, and it makes it much easier to get used to having the hips in the right place. So I'd use that little drill to practice it.
Well, one other thing that I find that helps as well, if I've had people in the past where I've said, if you're normally starting with your chest facing a particular direction, just under rotate what you're currently doing. So if you normally start facing here and your direction of travel is that way, start with your chest facing this direction and then do exactly what you would normally do, and you end up stepping a quarter of a rotation less. And it's a simple thing, but that has helped people in the past with me.
Yeah. It's funny because that simple thing applies to it applies to everything. I think people overthink stuff sometimes. Like, you know, when you're traveling to the side in the flip, or you're traveling too far forwards, too far backwards, all problems like that. Like, I've had it when I first started doing stuff on a trampoline track. I'd try and do like whips in a row and I'd start turning to the side or traveling to the side. And sometimes, well, most of the time, you can always just fix it by just trying to go to the other side. If you're drifting to the left in a trick, just try and travel to the right in the trick.
And it'll correct it.
You kind of correct it. And because your body knows what to do. Like, let's say you're doing a backflip, but you keep going to the left. If you try and do your backflip to the right, then you don't even have to think about what your body's actually doing, but you'll push your hips to that side. You'll swing your arms more to that side. You'll do these things to correct it. And then it'll fix the problem.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to overcomplicate it and think about all the individual parts of your body sometimes. Sometimes you can just kind of think, well, if I'm turning this way, I'll try and turn the other way. Fixed. It can be simple, you know?
Yeah. I used to have that problem, but it was like because I was trying to look for something that wasn't even really there. It was just the fact that like, well, not that there was nothing there. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand how to look at things quite as analytically to the point where I can look and see that micro movement of my left shoulder that's making me lean to the left a little bit more. So I'd just be like, right, if you think about it in a simple enough manner, which could just be when I'm taking off for this trick, I'm going to actively push to the right, then it can change everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got one last clip, and then we'll just talk about some stuff. Oh, it's the same Webster. It's the same Webster again. Sorry, guys. False alarm. He sent this to me and you. That's what it is. Why has he done that?
Little rascal. I mean, we did only give people an hour, so fair.
True. The little scamp.
Yeah. Lele, sorry. I did. If you sent it to me, I didn't see it, and if you sent it to Kojo, you also, or maybe you just didn't care.
What's it? Broken Bridge.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that in the camera roll right now.
No.
All right, I've seen if I had anything spicy. Oh, this is spicy. Or studying Aiden's hook kicks earlier. Look at that. Look at the legs on this boy.
Yeah, he's a little maniac.
Imagine what that feels like to trick with that kind of mobility.
I know.
That's the dream right there. Oh, which leads me on. All right, so on Tuesday, we're doing our first live stretch session. It's happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening. Because, I mean, look at that. Look at that shit. It looks great. Every tricker in tricking could do with being more flexible. The more flexible you are, the better your body feels, the better your tricks look, and the easier your tricks are, as it makes technique easier to perform if you're more flexible. So what we're going to do is a weekly stretch live once a week. So even if you don't do overstretching, and you should be doing overstretching, you'll at least get that 1 hour a week with your old pals, Kojo and Omid. And we'll do our stretches together like mates.
Yeah, we can all be mates. We're mates, aren't we? Let us know in the comments.
Routine every time.
Let us know in the comments if we're all mates.
Yeah, let us know. Because I'd be really let down, to be honest, if you guys weren't my mate.
Well, I might cry tonight.
Yeah.
We're not mates.
Nick says he feels like he's ripping his testicles when he kicks. See, we can sort that right out. We'll get them stretched right out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be like Stretch Armstrong when we're done with you.
I don't know. I've been feeling the gains from stretching lately. Really been feeling it because I've just been like, oh wait, did you not save my boy Keisho? Was it Keisho?
What do you mean save him?
Save the clip I sent you.
You sent Instagram. Sorry guys.
Of course
sorry
you
did. I'm back. Don't worry.
You're back even though we never left.
Yeah, just checking my messages.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got my
what
video.
clip did you say? I only got 3 clips from you, unless you sent more afterwards.
Oh, maybe you didn't send them. I don't know. He was sending a master scoot gainer.
Oh, okay.
Didn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
Nah, I've got a video uploading as we speak. It'll be out.
Omid, respond to this.
What?
Hi, Omid. Are you always smoking? If yes, this is not complicated with your run objective.
Objective?
Answer.
Nah. I don't smoke.
Oh, with that, do you want to say anything else about that, or next question?
Let's go next question.
This one's actually pretty interesting. This one is actually interesting.
What is it? How
is stretching related with twist, or how it help in twisting? So is flexibility important in twisting moves? Now, I'd say indirectly it is. So the actual twist itself, yeah, it's not going to make much of a difference if you can open your legs really wide because you're putting your legs together. So the twist itself, not really. But the setup you're doing into the twist, whether it's a B twist, gainer switch, touchdown raise, Gumby, cork, whatever setup you're doing is going to make a huge difference. More so with swings and like front swings or back swings than it is with any punch. But with a swing, let's take like gainer switch or cork swing through. The more flexible you are, the wider you're going to be able to spread your legs when you're coming out of it. The wider you can spread your legs, the lower down your chest will be out of that gainer switch or cork with your leg way up above you. That means you're going to be able to block more momentum because you're going to be able to land with your chest lower out of that setup. So it's going to make it easier for swinging it into triple corks and stuff and hard twisting moves. So being more flexible will help. It will help you to get more power from your setups in a big way. It does make a huge difference, actually.
Well,
yeah.
Well, one thing I've discovered because of this adductor injury that I've been dealing with, this is something that I definitely undertrained before, my adductor strength. Because now, if I'm having a particularly kind of weak day with my adductor, because some days it's a lot better than others, but when I've got a day where it's really kind of aching, I tend to, like, even if I'm just doing a double cork, I can feel it. I can feel that, like, the ache within my legs being tensed and squeezed, and it's something I never used to think of until I had this injury. So the best thing to do is to try and train things preemptively, so you don't want to just deal with an injury or deal with something after you've realized, like, oh, you know, if I'd have done this thing, then I wouldn't have got injured, or I would have been a lot better. But like, do it now. So if you can train your adductor strength at the gym, and you can do it various different ways, like you get a ball and put it between your ankles or your knees, you hold it and squeeze it for 30 seconds, do that like 10 times, have a 30-second break in between, you'll see vast improvements with your adductor strength. And then that means that you can squeeze your legs together with more power, more ferocity, and it means that your twists are going to be a lot tighter and stronger.
And for any swipe or anything, then like pulling the leg over is going to be a lot easier. And helicopteros and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like little things like that I never used to like isolate and train things for. I'd always be training like, you know, just standard strength. So like quads, calves, glutes and all that kind of thing. But if you start looking at like adductor, abductor and various different things like that, like even hamstring was something that I didn't train nearly enough in terms of strength, but now I've been really trying to. So I'm seeing a massive improvement.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we got some more questions. We've actually got some good questions today. Normally we don't. We have more like Noah's flip check comments. We have more comments like that. But what are your thoughts on balancing stretching and exercising your mobility? So I don't think there's any perfect way to do these things. And I think you have to base it off your body. Like the best thing for me to do isn't going to be the best thing for Omid. So like with my stretching, because some of you will know that I stretch normally 3 times a day, sometimes more. So normally at least an hour, lots of the time over 2 hours per day. And that's not necessarily because I think that's the best way to build loads of flexibility. Lots of that is based around just how my body is. My body aches. My muscles are really sore all of the time. And even if I don't train, I can not train for weeks, like when I've been injured and stuff, my muscles feel the same. Like they kind of feel the same as if I was at a gathering for 3 days, training 5 hours a day. Sometimes my body will just feel like that when I wake up, when I just haven't trained for 2 weeks. So I do the constant stretching, like 3 times a day, because it stops my muscles from hurting as much. That's the main reason. Yeah, I do it for flexibility as well. I want to get more flexible, but the main reason is so my body won't ache loads. Whereas if you don't have that problem, then you probably don't need to be doing that same thing. Maybe you don't have that problem, but maybe you're really skinny and weak, so you need to be lifting more. Whereas I don't need to lift that much, not nowadays anyway, because my body is strong. Like I don't need to put on more muscle. I mainly need to just lose fat and stay conditioned. So it just depends on your body and your needs.
Well, comparing myself to you in that sense, you'll stretch 3 times a day generally. I generally stretch twice a day. Just first thing that I do in the morning, like immediately after I open my eyes, I make a coffee, and then while it's cooling down, stretch, drink my coffee, keep stretching, and then I start my day. Then the last thing I do, I stretch as well. And I'll probably end up doing about an hour to an hour and a half each day. And I really have to focus on building strength, even if that's in like my back or triceps. And the reason for those kind of workouts is because I've learned from Kojo's mistakes and other people's mistakes that I've seen in the past. Well, not mistakes, but injuries. Like Kojo's hurt his tricep a bunch of times, and it was kind of a recurring injury. And it was something that I never really used to think about that much. But then after him hurting his tricep, it's always just kind of been ingrained in my mind. Train your triceps because you don't want to end up ripping your tricep like Kojo did. And it's like, if you can build this kind of all of these little triggers in your head of like the different things that you should be training, then you end up just building a much better body so that you can train way better and you can be stronger for much longer.
Yeah, true. And I've just realized there's more clips.
Is it?
I haven't played all of them. I think there's like, oh, that's a B twist. Stanley's B twist. So it's a B twist.
Yeah.
There we go. There's more clips. They weren't all B twists.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, so just to answer, because a couple of people have asked this, do you? Yeah, we warm up for stretching.
Yeah.
Like you want your body to be warm for stretching. I normally use my massage gun and just move around a bunch. Start with really slow leg raises, holding my leg up, and then start to do them faster. But yeah.
Fucking bro, this massage gun that I've got is amazing. So I got sent a massage gun by a company called Recover Pro. Okay, first of all, go and check it out because it's sick. It's super sick. Like, I don't know, because like I've used a bunch of different massage guns in the past, and just actually having this and being able to use it several times a day is the most exciting thing. Before I stretch, I use it. After I stretch, I use it. Just randomly when I'm working, I'm just blasting my hamstring or whatever. Oh, dude, it's so good. Sorry, I just got really excited because it's new and I love it.
Yeah, fair enough. Someone said, how do you balance injury with training and not trying to injure the same spot? As my ankle is toast, is what he said. Well, my ankle's toast as well. So I know all about that. And I think as the conditioning and stretching and mobility is super important. You got to consistently be doing that. That's a given. You have to be doing that. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, how do you actually trick and progress whilst dealing with like a weak ankle? And I think the key is just being in complete control all the time. You're never going for a move that you don't know you're going to land. Every single thing you do, you know you've got it because you've prepped it. You're not trying to finish a combo in like a double cork unless you've already done a cork and then you've done a hyper cork, you've done a cork with a half twist. Like, preparation is key. Doing everything on trampoline loads of times. Just training in a way where you land everything first try because you've built it up slowly. That's how you're going to avoid re-injuring it.
Remove all ego.
Remove the ego. You can't just go for stuff anymore. I mean, you can, but you'll just keep getting injured and you won't actually get better. So you have to get past the wanting to go for something. Maybe you could land it today, but that doesn't mean you should. You should probably wait a month, 2 months, so that you definitely can land it and then try it. But yeah. So about this touchdown raise double cork, what do you think, Omid?
I haven't been watching it. Let me see. The touchdown raise was pretty good.
Weird takeoff.
Yeah. There's a few things. My brain's kind of overloading with this. So first thing, you're leaning back a little bit too much as you're taking off the double cork. You're not blocking fast enough or hard enough at the touchdown raise. And I can't tell whether it's like a slant of the camera or if you're on a hill or whatever the case may be. But your legs are kind of crossing over to the point where it's kind of hindering what the rest of your body's doing. So I feel as though maybe you're approaching it in your head as like a cork and then you keep twisting. So you need to think, once you swing that leg up to initiate the height for the double cork, you want to pull those legs together once you leave the ground. And you want to try and have your heels like connected If they do cross over, that's fine. But if you're squeezing your glutes and you've got your legs together and they're a little bit wrapped up, it's going to be way easier than what you're currently doing, because your legs are kind of doing this as you're doing the double cork. Yeah.
So when I was trying my first cork swing double cork, then I used to do this sort of thing. And lots of the time, it's when you lean back too much in your takeoff, then it's much easier for your legs to get tangled. Whereas when you can take off properly, it's a lot easier to lock into a good twist. And the way you're going to avoid leaning back too much in the takeoff is by finishing your touchdown raise, spotting the floor in front of you. Keep spotting the floor in front of you all the way through your swing. As you swing your arms upwards, try to lift your left elbow to shoulder height. We're doing that again. You're going to do that in pretty much any double fall that takes off backwards, because you don't want to, you don't want to drop your shoulder and be losing height. So make sure your shoulders up, looking at the floor. Only after you leave the ground, allow yourself to look over your shoulder and twist. So it's mainly a timing thing. It's just coming out of the touchdown raise, going straight into it. You want to come out of the touchdown raise, keep your core super tight so you don't whip backwards, lift your shoulders, look at the ground, then twist. I think you'd be good after that, because he's nearly landing it with that technique. So if you fix that, it'd be way easier.
Yeah, shoulders is the key for that one, I think. We got any more?
Yeah, there's a couple more. I just wanted to respond to a couple of these comments, because we've been getting some good ones today. All right. Someone said, when should you start twisting, and what setup do you recommend for beginners? I recommend trampoline for beginners. Like, a trampoline is the perfect way to learn twisting. It's way more efficient than any other way that you can do it. Unless you have a super bouncy air track, maybe that would be good as well. But I think trampoline is king when it comes to twisting. So get on a trampoline. If you don't have one, try and figure out how to get one or get access to one. And I mean, if you can't do that, that sucks, and you can still learn on the floor, but you're missing out on a massive training tool. So do what you can. If you do have to learn on the floor, I'd learn from round off first, as that's the closest thing to a trampoline. You have the most amount of time in the air. Try and learn how to do a big round off layout, and then try and land, do a half, try and look over your shoulder, turn your hips at the end, do a back half, look over your shoulder on the landing, and build up from there. I got tutorials on it. There's tutorials everywhere on it. But yeah, that's how I'd approach it.
Yeah. There was another question that someone said a little while ago. Willie, our old boy Willie, the big discus Willie. He said, does working out make you less flexible? Is that a thing? Now, this is, I don't know. Again, not scientist, not a doctor, but I would highly recommend you have at least a cool down stretch after you've worked out. And even if you haven't done legs, I highly recommend doing a leg stretch and a whole body stretch after you've worked out. Could only be 15 minutes if that's all you want to do. But then if you're adding that in at the end of every single workout, it will help kind of elongate the muscles so that you're not, because what happens is when you're working out, your muscles get broken down and then they tighten up and they get bigger. And it does make you a little bit less flexible over time. If you're not stretching at all, you're just going to be like a rock if you obviously work out enough. But the goal of stretching afterwards, and then also stretching, even in the mornings and evenings and whatever, is just to kind of stop that from happening, because you do tighten up a little bit. So yeah, just stretch.
Yeah, I think the key that having rest as well. Like if you're lifting too regularly, like I could imagine if you were lifting hard every single day, it'll probably affect your flexibility. As when I lift hard, even if I stretch afterwards, I'm less flexible the next day, just because my muscles are like broken down a bit. So yeah, make sure you get proper rest. I think if you didn't get proper rest, that would be a problem too.
Yeah.
All right, we got a question here. When I twist, I tend to bend my right leg, and I want to fix this so that my legs remain straight. Apart from tramp training, do you guys have any advice? First off, tramp training. Get yourself a trampoline. Get on one somehow. Figure it out. But without a trampoline, it is a lot harder. I'd say maybe round off isn't your best setup, but whatever your best setup is, I think that's the setup you got to use to fix these issues. You want to make it as easy as possible. I mean, maybe even if you have access to it, if you can find it, like do practice your twisting off a small height. If you don't have access to a trampoline, just anything you can do, like going down a hill, you just want to make it as easy as possible. if you can make the twist itself easy to land, that's when you'll have the time to be actually thinking about changing technique. As if you're barely landing a move, not the place to change technique. Like this guy's double cork. This guy's double cork on the screen. Now, I wouldn't be telling him to try and fix his twist really in that double cork. I'd tell him to fix his twist somewhere else, like not from trying double cork. Fix his twist doing double falls on a trampoline, round off double falls on the ground maybe, or something like that. Maybe double cork from a height. But what I wouldn't tell him to do is try and fix a twist doing a move he's not landing. That's a bad move. So yeah, find somewhere easy to train it and then focus on different things like engaging your hips and making sure you're spotting over your shoulder. Film every single attempt you do so you can see what you're doing and slowly make changes like that.
Yeah. Are you going to do another one or should we do another question?
Well, there's one of these questions that says, I don't like trampolines. That's fine. Just means you won't get as good at tricking.
Yeah.
Next one. And it's one of those. This guy is asking, how can I do free? How do you do free spins, Omid?
Okay.
Help him with his spins, man.
First of all, go and watch every clip of Mikael Mantis you can find.
Kid spin. Spins.
Okay, lift your shoulders up as you're hitting the ground, and actively think about tensing your core. Because this is something that I used to actually train when I was training backside tens and stuff like that. Also, I love that he's in Fusak doing this. Alexander's just doing quad cork and shit, and he's just training his spins.
I mean, you gotta get the spins first.
Hey, remember when I first started trying pop 3, I couldn't do it because I couldn't do a standing like a jump 360 spin. Yeah, just pull your shoulders up. Make sure that as you're jumping up and you're pulling your arms across your chest, actively think about engaging your core. You want to like have it super tense and think about like even like your obliques and stuff like that. Think about them being tense and really ripping the arms and tensing all of your arms up, and you'll do it fine.
I think that's enough tips for the triple spin. I think. Oh, and we got little Nev. Almost forgot about Nev.
Oh, go on, Nev.
She might be gone now. Oh, I'm in the way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Whoa.
Nev's getting it. Nev's getting it done.
Yo, I didn't expect that cork swing gainer.
Cork at the start. Nice. Yes,
that was lovely.
That was really nice. The main thing now, Neve, the main thing you should be focusing on really is just getting the reps in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like doing these tricks loads and loads of times. Like, yeah, there's going to be some technique things to think about, but that's the main thing, just getting loads of practice in. With any swing, this applies to corks, gainers, anything you're doing, make sure your hips push forwards as you swing. That's really, really important. And in anything where you're swinging your leg backwards, hips push backwards. You want to get really used to that as soon as you can. Keep your head up in the tornado kick, spot the target all the way through. In the hook kick, try and spot your target all the way through. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, chest up in the hook. Is that what you said? What did you say in the hook?
I just said spot the target, but yeah, that helps.
Yeah,
help the chest up.
Yeah. Yeah, bless you. What's this then?
Did we do this one? Oh yeah. Okay. I think we've actually done all of them now.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Someone said I hit cork swing cork a month ago, but I still have a mental block and struggle combo in it. Oh no, that's the last thing we want. We don't want mental blocks on the Omid and Kojo show live. We don't want any of that. All right. How do you get out of that? So, really easy way. I'm going to talk about this in my video I'm making on fear, actually, because it's a really easy way to get over mental blocks and fear with swings. And it's taking it back a step. Try and do cork and practice swinging to gainer where you can see the floor the whole time. Doesn't even need to be a real gainer. Just a really slanted around the side gainer. Try and get so comfortable that every single time you do a cork, whether you're tired or not, you can at least swing to around the side gainer. Because it might not train your actual gainer, but what that will train is doing a cork and carrying momentum into another movement. So that way you are training your cork swing cork, but you don't have to slam. you don't have to be scared. You don't have to worry about anything. You're just doing a gainer looking at the floor the whole time. So still practice corkscrew corks, but for every cork you do, try to do 5 corkscrew gainers going around the side, because it will just take the fear out of it completely. And maybe in a session, you'd be able to go for like 5 to 10 corks. Maybe you'd only land a few of them. Whereas if you do it this way, then you could probably do a few corkscrew corks, but you could do 20 corkscrew gainers. So you're going to have trained carrying momentum out of a cork 20 times. And that's the hard bit. The cork itself, the second cork, that's not hard. You know how to do a cork. You can swing out of it. So once you train how to carry momentum out of a cork, it'll be easy to do another cork from it. So I do that. I wish I'd done that when I first started doing swings. I would have got better at them much, much faster.
Well, this is something that I realized with dub-dub. It took me to the point of getting to dub-dub to really be able to bring it back. Because, like, you know, when you're chasing that milestone, whatever it may be, like for this guy, it was, you know, cork, swing, cork. But for me, the time it really kind of resonated with me was when I was trying dub-dub. Instead of doing exactly what you said and only attempting 1 or 2 of the dub-dubs because the swing wasn't good enough, I took it back and I just thought, right, I'm going to do 10 corks and 10 switches out of my double full. Once I was working towards that, I didn't even get to the 10 switches and 10 corks. Once I was doing 5 out of the dub consistently, then I just landed dub and it was really easy because I understood how to control myself to do the swings out of the dub to something that was going to be useful to carry more momentum. So it meant that the cork was simple, and then it was just a case of hitting that one that was just like, okay, that everything clicked at the right time, and then it was just a lot easier from that point.
See? Yeah, that's the hard bit, really. Because the trick afterwards, you already know how to do. You already know how to do it good enough to swing. Like,
well, the thing is as well, like it's not going to be consistent if you do it that way as well, because you might do it that one time. But like for me, my first dub, it was double cork from Master Scoot, but I just got lucky. And then when I started doing it from other setups, because I was drilling, swinging out of dubs, it was just easy for me at that point. And now whenever I do a double full or double cork that's good enough, it's just drilled into me that I know if I can do a cork this well or this high, or I can do this many swings, okay, I can do the dub straight away. And it's kind of easy at that point.
Yeah.
Well, someone said a little while ago, you putting that up has moved all the messages, all the comments. Right, so I think this is in reference to the cold stretching and warming up before stretching. But they said Leon Thorley said, do you go for a run for 5 minutes before, or do you just slow stretching but not overdoing it? What do you do to warm up your stretches actually?
I said I massage first because I'm normally super stiff at 5 a.m. And then I do like super slow leg lifts. I can like lift my leg up behind me, hold it for 5, and then I do it out to the side, hold it for 5, and that like gets some heat in my hips. And then I do slow leg raises, about 60% of my range of motion. I sit with the soles of my feet together, do butterfly stretches where you bounce your knees up and down. And then after I've done that, then I'm starting to get loose, and then I just start stretching. But I don't push it super hard straight away. Just the warmer you get, the more you're going to push your stretches. Like, you don't want to try and do your max straight away. You want to be like 20 minutes deep.
Well, one thing I've started doing, especially in the mornings when I'm running, or even after, in the evenings as well, because I usually work out and then stretch. So if I'm running in the morning, then I wake up and I do really, really light stretches. Sometimes I'll run through the routine that I'm going to be doing when I stretch properly. But I run through it and I kind of ease myself into it. And I gradually just kind of like, sometimes I'll just sit in straddle and just be drinking my coffee. And then just slowly over time, just kind of leaning forward ever so slightly. And I'll do around 50% of what I can actually do, maybe like 40. And then once I've done that, I'll go for a run. And I start off light with the run, and then I speed it up towards the end. And then when I get back home, I'm like covered. I'm drenched in sweat, even if I just do 2 miles. And then when I get back in the house, and then I do a proper stretch. So if you can build it into your routine so that you do some kind of cardio or any other kind of form of exercise, and then just doing the stretching afterwards, it's a lot easier to make sure that you're warm enough.
For real.
Someone said, please can you say hello to my friend Rosa Milano? Hello, Rosa Milano.
Hello, Rosa Milano. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a fat minute. Ms. Milano.
All right, I want to go back to one of the points someone made. Well, the guy who said I don't like trampolines, because this is actually, now I take the piss when people say this most of the time, but it's actually a really important one, and it's pretty common. There's some really good trickers who are like, oh no, I don't like trampolines. And also, me and Omid are kind of perpetrators of this, not with trampoline, but like I'd say the same about air track. I've always said, like, oh, I don't like air track. But if I had consistent access to an air track, it would probably be a super useful training tool. I mean, the Japanese use it, seems to be working great for them. So the thing is, with all of these tools, like a tumble track into a foam pit, that's a really good training tool. Or like a vault box onto a resi mat, I use that. I think pretty much any of these things, whether it's a trampoline, trampette, or a block to flip off, or tumble track to a foam pit, lots of them take a bit of getting used to, and you're not going to be good on them at first. They're going to feel a little sketchy at first and not helpful. But if you learn how to use that thing, that piece of apparatus, then you'll be able to get loads of benefits from it. Like even the vault box onto the resi mat, that's turned out to be super useful for my tricking. That's why I can do B-kick helicoptero, because I figured out that I could do all of my B-twist tricks from a height using this setup. So I could safely train hard tricks from that takeoff, and then I could just take them to the ground. So make use of different equipment. You don't have to learn everything on the floor. It'll make your life a lot harder if you do it that way.
Yeah, I mean, with the air track stuff, like, and air trick stuff, this is what I was saying last week. Like the ideal training method would be to literally go from mega tramp to gym tramp to garden tramp to air trick, then to the floor. But it's just going to take too much time, and you can do it the other way. Because like, but what you were saying about air tracks and stuff, like, I think it is just a case of like, you have the tools, so you may as well utilize it if you have it. But would you invest in one? I guess it's like, if you had the money, you may as well. Air track? Yeah.
If I had a gym, and I could have an air track to resi, then yeah, I'd probably have that.
No, that's fair.
It's just learning how to use these things, and then they become useful when you're comfortable.
Well, the thing is, even if it's useful for like a small amount of things, like let's say, for example, instead of going from like, if there was an air trick or an air track at UTX, for example, just that gym, one of our gyms that doesn't have any like resi or anything like that, an even better way for you to train like triple B twist or something would be to train it from the air trick, the air track. And it's like, even if it's only useful for you and it works for you to just do that one family of moves, then do it. But you'll probably end up finding that, you know, there are other uses for it, and you can start training different moves. You just got to think about it a little bit.
Yeah. Someone said, you think training with weights is helpful for tricking? I mean, we both trained with weights over the years. I know Omid lifts weights more than I do now, but I used to lift for my legs a lot, and it helped with strengthening my ankle. So yeah, obviously you can overdo it if like most of your training is lifting weights, not tricking. But yeah, I think it helps.
Yeah, I think so too. I love working out as well. It just makes me feel better. And like we were saying before, like, I'm a little bit too small. You don't want to lift any weights because you don't want to get any bigger. I just want to get stronger.
That's not really why I don't lift weights much. It's just it's just the time and effort that I'd have to spend lifting weights. I don't think it's as productive as other things I could be putting that time into at this point in my training with how my body is coping.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not really about me thinking that I'd get too big. It's just I'll be fatigued and then my session's worse.
No, that's fair. I don't know. Lifting weights never, like, because of the way that I throw it into my routine and because of how used to it I am. That's the thing. I think once you're used to it, like before, it would take me 3 days to recover from a leg session. Whereas now, I'm not okay the next day. Obviously, I fuck myself up. But I just fit it in at the later part of the week, so I know I've got a full day's rest the next day, and then I'm cool.
Yeah. Well, people are asking about training with ankle weights, saying that Bailey Payne would strap weights to his ankles and swing through. So first, make sure you take that with a pinch of salt, Don't think he's got the cork world record because he swings through with ankle weights on. I don't know this, but he's probably done it like once or twice. It's probably not something he actually seriously trains with. I don't think it's a good move. Tricking is a lot of pressure on your joints already. I don't think there's any need to be putting more pressure on your joints. Practice leg raises with weights, but don't do actual tricks with them because there's a higher chance of injury. Not worth it.